Hello and welcome in Wednesday live chat for this week's Charles Schwab Challenge. This is the hour of the week that, for the most part, belongs to you. I'll answer your questions, your concerns, your comments. We'll chat through this logically and reasonably. We'll use a lot of data. We'll see what we can figure out for this week at Colonial. So go ahead and drop your questions, concerns, and comments right now, and I'll eventually get to it. Or I won't, but I usually get to a lot of them. So let's start with the weather forecast. That's where we usually start these things. So if anybody has any weather questions, we can just refer them right back to the beginning of the show and say, check out that part. So a couple of items here. First off, they're in a tornado watch as we speak. But to me, it looks like that is more northwest. The golf course is kind of down here, southeast Fort Worth. So hopefully that does not come to fruition anywhere, but does not appear to be towards the golf course. But that kind of shows some of the severe weather that the region is dealing with at the moment. When you look at the forecast for this week, here's Thursday. So 85 degrees, isolated thunderstorms. Friday, 92 degrees, partly cloudy. If you look at some of the sustained winds, the afternoon on Thursday is when it starts to kick up from about 5 to 6 miles an hour to about 12, 13, 14 miles an hour. And then that actually stays Friday morning until right around noon when it drops off back down to those single digits. So this is a pretty clear wave advantage. If this comes to fruition, this is about as clear as it gets, right? You get the winds that kick up basically exactly at noon on Thursday, and they leave exactly on noon on Friday. That's about as clear as we've seen in quite some time. Again, if it comes to fruition. So that would mean that I think Thursday morning, Friday afternoon is probably your best bet. All of that could change if there is a thunderstorm, if there is electricity in the air, if they bring the players off the golf course and change this out. That's the caveat there, but that's a pretty clear advantage. So if you go to the custom model on rickrungood.com, it's my website full of golf. It's only golf, fantasy golf data, and look at who is playing that AM PM wave. So you can sort by it, right? So you can sort AM PM, see the golfers that are in each wave. And then if you did only want to build lineups around those AM PM golfers, you could do that here. You could say, give me 6 golfers only from the AM, or at least 5 golfers from the AM wave, something of that nature, however much you want to be invested in it, but you're able to see those waves. So Scotty, unfortunately, and again, he's probably good enough to overcome this, but Scotty appears to be in the bad wave. We'll see how it actually plays out and what that stroke advantage might be, if there is one. The other thing that we like to do here at the beginning of the show, so we can reference everybody back, is to look at the one and done ownership. So this is the overall pool, site-wide selected ownership on officefootballpool.com. It's not specific to my pool. It's not specific to any one pool. It's the entire website, but it's very, very close to what it ends up usually being in a lot of one and done. So there's not a huge clear-cut high selected golfer like we saw last week. I think Brooks Koepka ended up coming in at like 38% or something of that nature. Tony Finau is the most owned in one and dones this week. It's 14%. Colin Morikawa and Harris English are both 10%. Jordan Spieth around 8%. Rose at 7%. Brian Harman at 6%. Max Homa and Thomas Dietrich at 5.5%. And then Eckroat and Sepp Straka in the mid to low 4%. So those are your top 10. Anybody else is lower than 4%. We can go through we'll go through my grid here in just a second. But right off the bat, you can see that I've selected Jordan Spieth in this pool. It's a kind of a unique pool, and I'm trying to make up ground a little bit. I think that Spieth is a pretty interesting option. I do think that Finau is a pretty interesting option. Sepp Straka, Keegan Bradley are on my radar as well. Max Homa would be a pretty decent buy if you're trying to make up ground. That's probably the core of golfers that I'm going with. If you look at my situation specifically, and this is Pool Genius, this is the tool that I helped collaborate on and consult on. So I've been putting in my picks every single week. It knows how many people are in my pool. It knows all that stuff. So you can see who I've already used. I've already used Scheffler. I've already used Homa. I've already used Finau and Brian Harman. So my highest grade is Jordan Spieth. He's a good option, but not a great option that you would want to save for the any major championship or any larger pool. His outright odds are better than a lot of his peers. Colin Morikawa is my second best option, but there's a pretty big gap there because Morikawa is somebody that you'd probably want to save for a bigger event down the road. And he's not had a ton of success at Colonial outside of the runner-up finish in 2020 when Daniel Berger sniped him. And then it ranks Harish English, Siwoo Kim, and Christian Bezuidenhout as the rest of my top five. Again, that is entirely based on my league, who I have used, when my league ends, all that stuff. You put all of that in and it spits out all this information for you. You can check it out. There's either, I keep forgetting to look. There's either a discount available in the link in the description and or a trial. I think there's actually a discount. The guys that I have a good relationship with those guys. So I believe it is actually a discount if you want to check that out and get all your stuff in there as well. Let's jump into the questions. Jason says, Rose deep dive considering him and Sung Jae for one and done. Yeah, let's do Justin Rose. And I imagine, because I know what he did on Saturday was very reliant on the short game. I imagine that's what we're going to see. Yeah. So T6, the PGA Championship, in which he gained 8 strokes putting, which is his best putting week in at least the last 2 years. It is probably one of the best putting weeks of his career, and it's a very long career. It's probably a top 6 or 7 putting week for him. So it would be unlikely for him to do that again. And it's kind of the only way that he has been able to put up good results. You can see coming in, I mean, he actually did hit the ball better at the PGA Championship. I'll give him that. He gained 3.7 strokes in the ball striking categories. That's his best since the Open de España in October. So I will give him that. But his results right now seem to be very, very tied to how well he putts it, which is a little bit scary. I am going to pull up his Charles Schwab data as well, just so that we can get a good grasp on that. So winner here in 2018. More recently, he finished 12th last year, missed the cut the year prior to that, 20th and 3rd, dating back to 2020. So that's a lot of good stuff. But look at how he was doing it, right? A lot of green in the ball striking categories, and then just a little bit of help with the putter. I'm not sure I'm seeing that type of golfer right now. So I would kind of tread lightly into the Justin Rose waters right now. I think he's an okay play, not a good play, not a great play. I'm not trying to be super overweight on him. I'm trying to probably have field exposure. Hey, Rick, thanks for all that you do. What did Alex Smalley figure out to go from a 74 stroke average to 68 in 3 out of the last 4, and did he lose it at the PGA? Okay, so we're going to do a deep dive on Alex Smalley here. I don't really care too much about a golfer who misses the cut at the PGA Championship at a major, especially Smalley, who I believe got in late. I believe he was one of the last guys in this field. I think he was the beneficiary of a WD, one of the last 1 or 2 spots. And he still gains a half a stroke ball striking. He lost all of it with the putter. It's not a huge deal to me. I don't think the greens at Valhalla were particularly difficult, but he's not a good putter in general. So this is not super surprising. The rest of his game, I think, is fine. Maybe I'm a little bit more optimistic on Smalley than I am on Rose. But again, I think he's just an okay play. Top 5 in my one and done, says Rich. Finau, Harman, Straka, Hoagie, any other safe play ideas out there? Thank you for the hard work. Yep, appreciate it. So if you're top 5 in your one and done, you're probably just rolling out Tony Finau, right? He's going to be the most popular. You're not going to save him for anything in the future. We are seeing a significant improvement in some of his advanced metrics. He continues to be an unbelievable ball striker, including losing 3 off the tee at the PGA Championship last week, which was incredibly unlikely and something he's probably not going to do again. The putter is starting to get closer to 0, which is a good sign. So if I am you, I am probably just rolling out Tony Finau there. Sung Jae is a question from Martin. Says, deep dive on Sung Jae feels a bit like a forgotten man this week. Well, he's been hard to figure out. The T12 at the Heritage was very optimistic, or very, I don't know what the word I'm looking for. T4 at Quail Hollow, even better. good numbers at the PGA, but again, that big loss on the putting surfaces. I don't really care about that. If I'm not going to care about it for Alex Smalley, I'm not going to care about it for Sungjae. And Sungjae is historically a better putter than Alex Smalley is. He's just lacking consistency at the moment. I believe he's going to be in contention. Like, I don't think he's going to go an entire year without really being in contention. And I don't know if you want to call that. I mean, the Wells Fargo, he was not really in contention because that was a Xander and Rory match play situation, for lack of a better term. But I think that we're definitely going in the right direction for Sungjae. I just believe that the driver's back. The second shots are not as good as they used to be, but we're circling the drain a little bit. I think we can get there. Hey, Rick, wondering if you have 3 to 4 favorite golfers in the 5,500 to 6,500 range based on course fit and recent form. Okay, that's pretty easy to handle. So we can just go straight to the cheat sheet here, and we can go 5,500 to 6,500. And then what I'll do is I'll make it real short term and say just the last 12 rounds. We'll sort it by strokes gained total, and we'll just see what we find, right? Like, let's just be smart about this. Jorge Campillo, Justin Lauer, Kevin Tway, Mac Meisner, Chan Kim are the only 5 golfers by that criteria that are gaining at least a stroke per round or more. None of them have good course history, but only Kevin Tway and Justin Lauer have even played this event in the last 5 years. If you're looking for good course fit, you could go to the course stats page and see all the advanced metrics, what correlates highest to success here at Colonial. And remember, there is a pretty significant renovation that's gone underway. So we're just kind of doing a little bit of, we're being cautious with the models for this week. But the first name that pops up is Jorge Campillo, and then Mac Meisner. Okay, so they're both like top 12 in course fit. So those would probably be the 2 that I would look at there. Josh, good luck with that. Can we get a Chris Kirk deep dive? Yeah, this seems to be the name of the game this week. Trying to find that 5th guy, that 6th guy, not really feeling comfortable about every single golfer in the field, and then just trying to find something that fits together. So here's Chris Kirk. The putter's completely gone. He's only gained strokes putting once dating back to Riviera. That was at the Masters. He finished T16 that week. The ball striking is starting to cool off a little bit. Wells Fargo was kind of a down week for him. PGA Championship, definitely a down week for him. If you see Sungjae going up and to the right, it's pretty clear to see Chris Kirk kind of going down and to the left, if that makes sense. I do not like the way that's going. Can we talk please about DFS ownership and pivots for each range? Yep. So let's just get this back here to every single player in the field. And just for kicks, I'll go back to 36 rounds. That's what I like to look at here. So the 10K range. So we're projecting Jordan Spieth around 9% projected ownership, which is probably too good to pass up. Scotty around 38%, Morikawa 23, Max Homa 15. So your pivots in that 10K range. I'm happy to go with either Spieth or Homa. Seriously, I mean, Homa I think is just a fine play no matter what. Spieth is probably not 25% as likely to win this as Scotty Scheffler is. He is driving the ball beautifully. This is obviously a place that he's had a lot of success. I've had my own concerns because he has not turned it on. He has not flipped the switch at Augusta National. He has not flipped the switch at Harbour Town. He is dealing with a wrist injury, but that is a very good game theory option if you're willing to go that route. Also, look at all the gold medals. Look at all the medals that Scotty Scheffler has, right? So you get this little gold medal if you're first in a category, and it's just like first across the board, gold medals across the board. That's pretty nuts. The 9K range, the ownership here is Finau and Brian Harman, which makes my favorite pivots probably Harris English at 8.2%. And there's not like a great option, but like Hoagie at 10% wouldn't be so bad. The 8K range is running into a lot of Sepp Straka, a lot of Keith Mitchell, a lot of Denny McCarthy. Billy Horschel is just a couple of starts removed from a win. He's 7% projected ownership. Finished TA at the PGA Championship. Billy's advanced metrics are phenomenal right now. That seems to be an obvious pivot. Keegan Bradley starting to turn the corner here. He's at 9.8 projected ownership. He's got 3 top 25s in a row. And then Thomas Dietrich, 7.4 at $8,000. Watched a lot of him last week. played very well, has now 3 top 8 finishes in his last 5 starts. He did finish 21st here last year. So if you did want to get away from some of those higher projected golfers, that 8K range makes it very easy to do so. The 7K range, a couple guys in the low double digits: Taylor Moore, Aaron Rye, Daniel Berger, Maverick McNeely. Nothing overly egregious. Mark Hubbard's at 5%. He is a good, accurate driver of the golf ball, doesn't hit it very far. Driving distance has never really been a strong correlator to success at Colonial. Accuracy has been. He's been playing well. I was actually walking with that group quite a bit because he played with Scotty Scheffler on Saturday. He, Dietrich, and Scheffler, and Hubbs looked like the game was pretty sharp, and not a lot of concern. Davis Thompson, somebody that I just kind of play regularly, 8.9%. That would be pretty interesting as well. And then Austin Eckroat. So if you model a lot of like the distance plus accuracy stuff, Austin Eckroat pops up a lot. Finished T18 at the PGA Championship. The dude's a stud, right? The dude is a real stud. Kind of took him a little bit longer to develop than some of his Oklahoma State peers, which is more common before the years of Matt Wolff and Victor Hovland and some of these other guys that have come out and made a splash as quickly as possible. But that Austin Eckroat is a very, very strong player. 6K range, Luke List 6%, Grayson Sigg 6%, Adam Svensson 8%. Nothing too crazy there. My favorites, I wouldn't mind Sam Stevens, who's playing good golf. He's a Texas guy. Nate Lashley is a big fairways and greens guy, which is very valuable at this golf course. Wouldn't mind that at all. And then finally, the 5K range. I don't even know if I see anybody over 3%. I don't. So anybody else that you want to go with there? Maybe I'm terrible at modeling. No such thing. Are you backing any of these DFS plays? Silverman, Sig, Hisatsune, Ryder. Sig and Hisatsune are interesting. We can do the deep dive on Rio here. He had one of the better rounds of the week. What day would that have been? Oh, he actually had a very good week at the PGA Championship. I thought it was one round that he went nuts. He gained strokes to the field every single round and gained 2 or more in each of the final 3. If you look at his stat profile, you're going to see a couple of things. He's definitely not long off the tee, and he's not super accurate, but more accurate than a lot of his peers. 62nd in driving accuracy in this field. That might be 30th. And he's just decent from a lot of different, approach proximities. I like his game a lot. We played him earlier in the year quite a bit to some decent success here. Hey, Rick, planning on going to a practice round at the Memorial. Would Monday or Wednesday be better? Going Tuesday as well. That is, I think they are. I guess it depends on what you want, Jacob. When Mondays are going to be way more casual. Wednesdays are still very casual, but you're starting to get into like, okay, let's turn the game face on. So if you're looking for like autographs or to chat, Monday would be better. If you don't care, there's probably no difference there. Aaron Rye, course fit question from Joe here. Oh, I'm sorry, from Be the Man 32. I liked what I saw from him at the Byron Nelson. I even liked what I saw from him at the PGA Championship. Let's look at his stat profile. Accurate off the tee. Keeps it in play when he does miss. Has a lot of good proximities. These are not all perfect, but like 50 to 125 yards, he's 45th. 20th from 125 to 150. So kind of, put all those together. Not bad. Yeah, this could be kind of interesting. I'm okay with this. Since nobody has asked yet, or at least I haven't seen it yet, I want to do just quick about the golf course. So I linked some stuff out in my newsletter for this week. If you want to subscribe to it, which you should, it's rickrungood.com/newsletter. There's a lot of good information in there. So the renovation that was done by Gil Hands was it's going to look a lot different. The layout is mostly the same. A couple greens have moved a little bit, but the layout is mostly the same. It's going to look more rugged. It is going to be softer. Okay. It's going to look like the 1941 US Open. And the thing that I think I'm most conscious of is that the entire place has been resodded. So new grass everywhere. I think it's like 118 acres of new sod they laid out. And we just saw this a couple weeks ago, Quail Hollow, especially when that happens on the greens, you get very high bounces. And I know Michael Kim was tweeting about that earlier. New greens take a couple of years to kind of settle in, and you're seeing those high bounces. So I think this could play a little bit more difficult just to start. So I agree with Michael Kim's assessment. That was kind of my assessment as well. I heard a couple of different things, but I kind of agree with Michael that in 3 years, I think this course will play easier. This year, I think the greens being firm might make it a hair more difficult. But overall, I think from tee to green, it is a little bit easier here. Can we take a look at Ben Cole's recent T2 in Texas? Good ball striking numbers in the PGA. Seems like classic accuracy, second shot courses, good salary cap relief. Well, you might have just done my job for me here, Joe. Let's take a look. Oh boy, I just got logged out. 1 second. I knew that was going to happen. I was running a data update, and I knew I was going to get logged out. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. So here's Ben Coles, T26 at the PGA Championship. Hasn't missed a cut since Punta Cana. He's kind of been a different golfer since Zurich, right? And actually that is not unusual. There have been other examples of guys who are having a bad year and they get just a change of pace. They get to play with a partner, change of pace. A little bit of pressure is taken off of them individually, and that starts a run. We have seen that before. And that might be what's happening right now, because look at the distinct stats from before the Zurich to after the Zurich. And he started to turn the corner at the Texas Open, gets a partner, and then has had some good results since then. So that's a pretty decent call, Joe. I wouldn't mind that one single bit. Weekly one and done question. Last week, oh boy, we pivoted off of Bryson onto Ludwig. That's not good. Is it time to shake that off and bounce back? Who would you like more, English or Rye? The good thing about Rye is he's probably not going to be owned at all, right? I have him at 0.7% and Harris English at 10%. So do we like Harris English? And this is a very basic way to put it, 10 times as much as we like Aaron Rye. It depends on your position, Josh, but might have to roll with Rye here. Philip says producer's pick. Oh, actually, she doesn't even know this, I don't think. Did you guys see that there's a Nick Taylor bobblehead that they're selling from the Canadian Open? And I've got some Canadian friends who have come through with that. Thank you very much, because they don't ship to the United States, which is probably what they feel all the time, right? But there's going to be some Nick Taylor bobblehead here. She said to me that she is taking a quote, big juicy burger, which means Daniel Berger. Which actually, I mean, sometimes I mock her plays, though I shouldn't, because she's crushing me in the one and done. This feels like a really good time to be early on Daniel Berger. I talked about this a little bit on the Monday show. I think, I don't remember. I was out of town. It's been a lot. It feels like a year since I did that video. Starting to get the leaks being plugged, starting to hit it much better. Has won this event before. If you were trying to be early on Berger, now does feel like the time. Names like Gotterup, Thompson, Fox, and Hostler are popping up for me. I like Thompson. I'm okay on Hostler. Gotterup, I don't know if this is the greatest spot for him. Same thing for Ryan Fox. This is true. Both Taylor Moore and Harris English have been solid plays in lineups this year. Now ready to ride one and done, but stuck on pulling the trigger. Well, we've done a lot of Harris English already. Let's look at Taylor Moore. This might help a lot of people. He's been quietly very good. T12 at the PGA, well-rounded gains across the board. A little bit hot with the putter, but it's not unusual for him. He did the same thing at the Houston Open. The rest of the metrics are still very good. He's driving it well. 5 straight gaining off the tee. Approach is starting to come around a little bit. Dallas boy, right? Let's roll more out there. Okay, here's the question about my betting card. And I will tell you, as I tell you always, Don't do what I do. Do whatever you want. Spend your money however you want. I do not care. I want you to be happy with how you spend your money. Here's what I've done. Max Homa 22-1. Sepp Straka 45-1. Then 2 darts, one on Daniel Berger at 100-1. So putting my money where my mouth is there. And then I'm not going to miss out on Davis Thompson at 125-1. So 22, 45, 100, 125. That's my card. Pretty tight. Don't mind it. Looking for some cheapies to fit in with Scotty. Looks like Tway's been having some decent finishes. Thoughts on him? Yeah. Okay. So this is on paper not a very good golf course for Kevin Tway, but I could have said that about maybe some other places recently. I worry about a couple of things. We don't get the strokes gain breakdown at Punta Cana. He finished 3rd there, and that would be probably one of the better courses on the PGA Tour schedule for him. I can't really take too much stock out of this T11 at Zurich because it's a team event. I love the result T9 at the Byron Nelson, but he loses 4 strokes on approach and needs to gain 9 in the short game categories. And then he finishes T43, which is not great, out of a field of 68 or 69 golfers to Wells Fargo, and he loses in 3 of the 4 major categories. This is tough to back. Okay, I know the results are good, but the underlying metrics are flashing red flags about Kevin Tway. Hey, Rick, in a pick 2 one and done, so 2 and done, trying to decide between English, Straka, Harmon, and Hubbard. What's the best strategy for making up ground? Well, for this week, it would be not English if you're trying to make up ground. So the answer is Straka, and either Harmon or Hubbard would be fine. I'm trying to think about, could you play either of them somewhere else? What's Harmon's record? Well, I don't know if you want to play him at a signature event. I was going to say at Travelers. Harmon at John Deere, assuming he plays it, would be pretty interesting, I think. So I would probably go Straka and Hubbard, but if you wanted to go Straka and Harmon, no big deal. Good afternoon, Rick. Hat tip to you and the crew for an epic coverage last week. So much better than the Golf Channel. Appreciate it. Philip stole my usual question. Shout out to Taylor the Gnome. Hashtag Team Harmon. That's great. Excuse me for 1 second. Just had a cough there. Thank you. What are your thoughts on Tom Kim this week? That Tom Kim's so cute, isn't he? Just such a cutie. Let's see what we got. Boy. Yikes. You know, it's been such an interesting career for him so far. Started out elite in a lot of places, lost it, got it back, lost it again. This is not awesome. Gained 6 strokes off the tee at the PGA Championship. That is jarring. But he lost 1.5 on approach. Oh man, let's see what is. I think this is pretty concerning, quite honestly. But let's look at his. He's never played this event before. He is a Dallas guy. I don't like this. I don't like this. I like Tom Kim in general, but this is not good. I mean, he's not going to gain 6 strokes off the tee again, right? That's the best week he's ever had in his career off the tee. He is losing strokes on approach regularly. The short game is mostly a negative, and he's actually kind of turned the putter around a little bit, but nowhere near what I think the DNA is. So this is a lot. This is a lot to overcome. Any data on player performance the week after majors? I would have to go run and pull that. It would take me a bit. Oh, same with this one. What player in the field plays Gil Hand's renovations the best? I do have the renovation data in my database, right? I have like year and who did it and all that stuff. It would probably be very noisy and not very actionable, but again, would take me I'm not going to stop the show to do all this. What percentage of lineups would you have Scotty in this week? So if we think Scotty is going to be 38% owned, you'd have to decide, do I want more of Scotty or less than Scotty? So if you want more of Scotty, I would say 50%. And it is possible for him to be in. I mean, he's in the optimal lineup, even at this price, seemingly every single week. Okay. If you wanted to fade Scotty, I don't think I'd full fade him. I'd probably do like 25%. And I would lean with some of the bet. I mean, with kind of the drop off at the top and the pricing going down to the 5K, I would probably lean 50% on Scotty. I'm trying to find someone sub 5,500 and think Troy Merritt seems to pop on these types of courses occasionally. Let's pull up Troy Merritt, but the other name that came to mind was Wesley Bryan, who on paper, this type of golf course should be decent for him. Merritt was good at Byron Nelson. He is a short game kind of reliant guy. Let me pull up Wesley Bryan real quick. Maybe this will be a little bit better. Wesley Bryan is not long off the tee. Oh, do I have him in here as Wesley? There he is. Wesley Bryan. Not long off the tee. Finished second in Punta Cana. We don't have the breakdown for that. He has missed 3 out of 4 cuts. Maybe this isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. We got to be able to find somebody else in that range, don't we? Let's go to sub 5,500. Stanger's missed 3 straight cuts. He's usually my go-to guy down here. Oh, I'm sorry. You don't want to play Michael Block? Boy, I thought there would have been some better options here. Rafael Campos, T9 to Byron Nelson, T14 in Punta Cana, missed the cut in Myrtle Beach. That wouldn't be so bad. He's a fairways and greens guy. Look at that. 63% of fairways, 70% of greens, and not short. Drives it really well. I think Campos might be the guy. I've never been in the top 2% of a one and done with over $1,000 entries. Do you pick dark horses in small money tournaments and eat the chalk in big money tournaments? Yeah, I guess, that's certainly one way to do it. Yeah, that would probably be a very good basic strategy, especially because in the big tournaments, there's probably 12 stars, right? Who could really win it. Rick, more impressive return. Eagle after making first tournament appearance after birth of firstborn child, or birdie after being in handcuffs 2 hours or 2 hours earlier. All right. Oh man. Making the Eagles pretty impressive. Haven't really talked about it. So I'm actually in the middle of, I recorded my behind the scenes video for the PGA Championship that goes on like the membership side of the YouTube channel. I'm almost done editing that. Last week was a whirlwind, man. When that news broke, so we knew, just real quick story. We knew traffic. We knew there was an accident. We knew traffic was bad. We got that information. We were about to leave the hotel because we knew it was going to take us a while to get there. And then we got the word that Scotty had been arrested. And it was like, get to the set as soon as possible, breaking news, et cetera, et cetera. And then once we got there, I think we did like 8 straight hours of live TV just because it was all unraveling so fast with, okay, he's gone. He's being booked. Here's the mugshot. We thought the mugshot was fake at first because I couldn't believe they put him in an orange jumpsuit. Then the charges come out. Then he's coming back to the golf course. He's been the whole thing. It was like 8 straight hours of chaos. So it was nuts over there. Thoughts on skipping the 10K range and starting the 9K range? I don't love that, Tyler. Not only are you skipping out on Scotty Scheffler, but I think there's a pretty big drop off here. Minwoo, as much as I love Minwoo, hasn't really been that good this year. Siwoo's advanced metrics are awesome, but the results aren't as great. Harmon's kind of been all over the place. Sungjae's been all over the place. I think there's a pretty big drop off. I think there's a big 3, and I'll even exclude Jordan Spieth if you want. Scheffler, Morikawa, Homa, I think are the big 3 here. And I think there's a pretty big drop off between them and everybody else. I'm in the top 10% of the big splash, one and done. Any thoughts on Christian Bezuidenhout? Well, I think you don't need to, right? If you love him and he's your guy this week, play him, but you don't need to. He's going to be 1% owned. You could conceivably feel comfortable playing Tony Finau, Harris English, Justin Rose, something in that neighborhood. But if you want to go here, you're going to have an opportunity to have a lot of leverage, which, by the way, you mentioned splash. This 54. So we've upped this again. So the guaranteed tiers contest that we do, and actually I think I have to put my picks in. Let me log in real quick. That tiers contest that we do each week has been upped from $4,500 guaranteed to $5,400 guaranteed. Let me put an entry in here and we can talk through how it works. So you just pick a golfer from each tier. So here's tier 1. Like, let's just go this is just the chalk way to do it to start. Like you take Scheffler. I'm a Keegan guy, but I wouldn't mind Billy Horschel here at a tier 2. Jordan Spieth might be pretty popular in a tier situation. Tier 3, Eckroat is probably my man. Tier 4, Thompson, Rio, or Hubbard would be fine. How about we take Hubbard there? And then Berger for tier 5. And then tier 6 should be everybody else. Yeah, which I love. That's a change that happened a couple months ago. Sam Stevens would be on my short list here. Wesley, Jorge Campillo. Let's say Jorge Campillo. So that's all you have to do, right? This is all guaranteed. So somebody is going to win, let's see, $810 for first place. It's going to pay out $50. So that link is in the description. Everything you need. I'll fill out my other 2 lineups here in just a little bit. Find my spot again here. Kyle, this depends a lot on. So the question is Harris English, Billy Horschel, or Seabass this week. It depends a lot on your position. I mean, we've talked about those other guys. Let's just do the Billy Horschel conversation because this is a golfer. I love this profile. I'm not gonna lie to you, and I love the way it's been trending. He has really started to figure out the tee to green play, and he's always been a good putter. And now the results are following. I mean, look at this run. I mean, Honda, Valspar, Houston. He wins in Punta Cana, finishes 8th at the PGA Championship. A couple other events in the middle there, but that's a lot of good high-end results. Do you have any sites you use to look at average greens in regulation or fairways hit for a course to use on Underdog? I'm building this tool right now, so I will have something for you. Speaking of which, we can now enter the Underdog portion of the show, and in honor of Mina, I'll say, woof, woof. That's the part that she usually does. But notice there's a selections on Underdog now, right? You see a lot of the finishing positions. Will Scotty finish inside the top 5 or outside the top 5, right? Am I reading this right? So Scotty, top 5 finishing position, yes, is the favorite over Scotty not finishing in the top 5? Is that real? What are his top 5 odds? Is he really a favorite? He really is. He's minus 140 to finish inside the top 5. Wow. I mean, if he finishes 6th, that's going to be a great week, right? That seems crazy to me. I know it's all he does, but that seems crazy to me. I also think that some of the greens, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I assume that Underdog is using past history when they're setting these lines. It's my assumption. And I think those firm big bounce, we saw it all the time at Quail Hollow. Like, you just can't control the ball if it bounces 7 feet in the air and carries the green. And if you're not playing out of the fairway, you can't even control your spin at all. So kind of trying to find some guys that miss a lot of fairways and are not going to be able to hold a lot of greens, and then taking the lower on their greens in regulation, like Jordan Spieth, 12 greens in regulation. Or who would be another good one here? Even Finau to an extent, right? These are guys that I like, but like Finau, 13 greens in regulation. That's a lot lower on that. They've got these finishing positions. I mean, Sepp Straka, top 20. So those that I just put together, Scotty Scheffler finished outside the top 5. Jordan Spieth lower than 12 greens in regulation. Tony Finau, lower than 13 greens in regulation. And then Sepp Straka finishing inside the top 20 is 14.8x. So that's 10 to win 148, 100 to win 1484. You could flex it and provide yourself a little bit of insurance as well. But I love the new, constantly with the new options on Underdog. So they're doing a great job there. Billy Horschel lower than 70 strokes. Add that on, it takes the 31x. Keegan lower than 70. I'd have to add a new entry, but that's a good one too. Hoagie to make more than 3 birdies. Yeah, right. I mean, what are we doing here? Link in the description. The code is Rick for the deposit match, which is now up to like a $250 deposit match, which is pretty nuts. It's even more than what our lower third says. Okay. Where am I at? English, Morikawa, or Max for one and done, middle of the pack. Max. Rick, welcome home. Thank you. Can I get your thoughts on Andrew Putnam and Ryan Moore? They're modeling well for me. I know you and Greg did not bring them up at all on Monday. That's true. Can't bring them all up. Let's see what we can get here. So Putnam and Ryan Moore. It must be the Charles Schwab challenge. Okay. Andrew Putnam. B. Putnam. You know, accuracy good. Second shot, not so much. Very good putter. That's kind of his thing, right? Does he have history around this place? Let's find out. I already know this is like, unless it's elite history, which I would know about. No, it's fine. 29th, 15th, miscut, 3rd, 20th. Never gains ball striking. That's just such a narrow path to the top. You're not going to find me clicking Andrew Putnam's name a lot. Ryan Moore, show me something, Ryan. Give me some green. Oof. Can't out hit a bad putter. And yikes. No. The 2 names I'm not going to be clicking here. Why is Straka getting so much more love than English? All right, well, let's do this, right? So let's do English and Sepp. And why is Straka getting so much more love? Well, his recent results have been better, right? Not substantially, but enough. So English has gone 18th, 34th, 28th, 22nd. Straka missed the cut at the PGA, but has gone 8th, 11th, 5th, 16th. So just slightly better there. Straka is better off the tee. He's better on approach. He is worse around the green, and he is worse with the putter. So when people model, they usually do a lot of things that are not putter reliant. He's more accurate off the tee. That's Straka. They're right next to each other. They're identical in greens and regulation. Harris English is longer, but distance is not really correlated here. So I assume this is mostly modeling, right? If you're modeling recent form, if you're modeling like ball striking stuff instead of putting stuff, you're gonna get Straka. But I mean, you know, I don't know what format you're talking about, Ian. Maybe DFS, but it says, why is Straka getting so much more love than English? Well, English is the 3rd highest selected player in one and done right now. 10%. Straka is 4%. So it depends on the format that you're looking at. Answered a lot of these names, right? Like in on Dietrich. Thoughts on Weber, Hoffman, out and out. Do we think it'll be a letdown for guys that played last week? Morikawa, Rose, Finau, English. No real reason to think that outside of just narrative-based stuff. The guys who played last week are better golfers in general, right? If you made the PGA Championship, or if you made the PGA Championship and made a run, you're just a better golfer than a lot of the guys in this field. So don't worry about that. Good time to get in early on Berger. I believe so. I showed that stat profile earlier, B-Hale. You can go back and check that out. Also, I'll have that behind the scenes video for the PGA Championship out for you hopefully today, maybe tomorrow. Should be interesting for the members. Much appreciated. Is Monday always a pro-am or a practice round? It's I think Tuesday's usually the pro-am. Don't quote me on that. I don't think Monday's the pro-am. Tuesday and Wednesday, I think, are usually the pro-ams. Okay. We don't need to ask the same question 3 or 4 times. I'm going for it. I live here in Fort Worth. We'll be raining heavy on Thursday. Thank you. When you go on site for a tournament, how much stock do you put in what you've seen in someone's practice round? Not much. Listen, well, practice rounds are there. You always see people like, oh, he's flushing it on the range. They all flush it on the range. Okay. They all flush it on the range. Also, you have no idea what they're working on. I would have to see someone like full in the grind, visibly frustrated for me to care about whatever's going on the practice range. Practice rounds are a little bit different. You can kind of see where they're playing from. If they're constantly missing fairways, it might not fit their eye, might not be able to hold their dispersion. A lot more to learn in practice rounds. You also that's when they go in. You'll see when they get up to the green, they'll throw some balls around the green and chip to usually the 4 corners, and you'll see guys that are not savvy enough around the greens. Is Tony a green light and one and done top 5% of a large pool and need a big week? I would say Tony, he's the play for you, objectively, right? I mean, he's going to be the highest owned, but that's okay. You're in the top 5%. He's got good outright numbers. He's playing better. I think you are right. Denny or Billy Ho? It is Billy Ho for me. Hope you had fun at Valhalla. Thank you much. Yeah, so I don't know if I did the deep dive on Homa. I've just kind of been saying like, I like Homa, I've bet Homa, et cetera. But here's the deep dive. Just starting to look a lot like Max Homa, right? Gaining throughout his bag, not relying in any one area. The finishes are coming through. Tends to play difficult golf courses very well. He is a savvy professional, okay? It's hard to quantify that. Never gives up on a round. There's been a couple times this year where he starts, 3 or 4 over and you're like, okay, this dude's done. And he finds a way to grind it out. He's a freaking grinder, man. I love him. Look at this stat profile. Look at the breakdown over here. Better than average in all 4 of the major categories. It's like a perfect square. So good. So good. What is up with Morikawa's back? Watch TaylorMade on YouTube, and Rory mentioned it was an ongoing injury. I don't know about that. I don't know the status of his back. Why do I keep hearing Scotty Scheffler is such a good fit for Pinehurst? Pinehurst is a highly strategic golf course that separates the best players from the worst players. And there are really some difficult greenside areas that when you're Scotty Scheffler and you have all the short game shots, that is really good. I'm assuming, I don't know who you're speaking about, Clinton, but that would be my assumption. Free Pac-Man says, what up, Rick? Who is the odds on favorite to get arrested this week? I wouldn't think Scotty Scheffler, right? That'd be like the last, that would be the last guy I would have ever thought. Well, he says you chose Taylor the Gnome when Max Noma was right there. Oh man, Gavin, that's too good. Well, what we did is we said we would name the gnome after whoever won. What event was that? What event did Taylor Pentruth win? I don't remember. Texas Open. And he won it, but I might have to petition the community to allow me to change the name to Max Noma because that is unbelievable and so good. We did Putnam. I'm out. If Tom Kim is 6 foot tall, I'm 9 feet tall. I saw him all week. Dude is not, but what do I know? Out on Brendan Todd. I'll pull up his stat. I mean, just to give you like the full breakdown here. Brendan Todd to me is very similar to Andrew Putnam, in which he has a very specific path to the top of the board. And it is gain like 8 strokes with your putter. The problem is he has not putted well, and he's hit the ball even worse. He's in the blender right now, right? This is the OK stat pro. Wyndham of last year is just like the stat profile for Brendan Todd. Lose a little bit off the tee and gain everywhere else and ride a hot putter. Same thing with the Fortinet. Lose off the tee, gain a little bit on approach, make every putt. The problem is now he's losing a lot off the tee. He's losing a lot on approach, and he's not even putting that well. So this is pretty bad. Do you use or have considered using AI to do some of your website work? I've not really considered it. I have like asked first off, when you say AI, there is probably something more than Chat GPT that I don't know about. That is basically the extent of it. When I would ask it things, it would be like, we don't even have any recent, like, I think like the sports database was only going up to a certain date. So it was not helpful at all. Someone did email me and they're like, hey, Rick, if we took all your data, loaded it into a AI model, you could use AI to query your own data, which sounds great. That is so far over my head. I would not even know where to begin or how to use that. It's not that I'm against it. I just there's a million other things going on and I would have to learn that from scratch. So that's kind of where I'm at. Will you be at the Charles Schwab? I will not. Back home, my hunch is the next time I'm on the road is the US Open. Excuse me. I hope. I have not gotten that definitively confirmed yet, but I hope to be at the US Open. Then I hope to be at the President's Cup. Then I hope to be at, I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know. I just fell out of the money. Top 3, only 400,000 behind. Should I go with Harman or Finau or Speed? You should just play Finau. Any feedback from the player you advised for the PGA Tour? I actually wrote up a whole thing, and emailed it to the team that will probably mostly stay between us, but he drove it very well. I think there was a couple of things that in the stat sheet really hurt him. I mean, I'm not really a coach, right? I'm a data guy. So if I say, hey, this really hurt you statistically, I can't say now here's what you have to do to fix your swing or anything like that. He's got to work with his coach and figure that part out. But yeah, I mean, the other problem is I mean, I know like 19 under par, 21 under par won it, but it's a very difficult golf course. It's a very difficult golf course. And you've got to be very, very talented around that place. And just a little bit of trouble goes a long way. Very much like Thomas Dietrich. Talks about him a little bit as well. If Scotty wins this week, I'm going to put a lot of consideration into making winner without Scheffler wagers. Yeah, I'm actually a little bit worried. What's Keegan's number? The more I go through this, the more I worry that Keegan's going to win this, and I don't have a piece of it. Keegan Bradley to win the Charles Schwab Challenge. 50. Should I bet that? Why do I like him so much? I just love his game. Love the way he's starting to figure it out again. Oh my God, look at these numbers. 9 strokes ball strike at the PGA. He's fixed the second shot. He's driving it better. I'm going to bet it. 50? All right. I'm in. What should the randomness and max projected ownership be on? So Rod is talking about the custom model. I like the randomness at 10. That's why it's the default. The more total entries there are, you should probably have lower max projected ownership. So like if you're playing with a lot of people, maybe set it at 80. If you're in like a smaller single entry, you could probably get away with like 130. Let's kind of mess around with it a little bit. First time ever I've been able to catch it live. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, an Eric Cole deep dive. We have not done one of those in a while because he's been pretty bad. Yikes. What was the question? Oh, missed the cut on the number. Is he rounding back into form? I'm going to go with no. I mean, look at this. This is what I would call his form, right? Very good second shot player, very hot putter, adequate throughout the bag. What are we getting now? Hemorrhaging off the tee, hemorrhaging on approach, horrible. Have the Monstars come for him? It's bad. It's very bad. Brent says, hey, Rick, I went to UGA and I stand all their PGA players on weeks like this. When my unpopular guys become popular, what should my thinking be? Ride like I always do, fade the noise. Okay, so Brent is referring to Sepp Straka. You just play him. Yeah. You just ride and be happy that now it's like the community gets to ride with you. I don't know if I have the scorecard handy. I got the pencils handy. I got to play. Oh, and I'm wearing the hat. I got to play Louisville's golf course, the Cardinal Club. It's where the golf team plays. It was awesome. I'm so in on the brand. I think the Angry Bird or whatever they call this, I think it looks good. I think it's great colors. I think it's simple. I got to get a swing. I couldn't find any swing in Louis stuff. I think that is all team issued. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But I'm like an adopted Louisville Cardinal after playing that golf course. I just loved it. I mean, Jace, I'm big in on Keegan and I'm very worried about Tom Kim. So I'm taking the Keegan side of that. Favorite chipping drill. My favorite chipping drill is to go ask somebody who can chip because I cannot. Towards the top of the one and done pool, is Rye too much of a wild card to take over Harman? Let's do a Harman deep dive. We did the Rye deep dive. The Rye. Harman's been okay. Maybe optimistic that he's getting a little bit better here. The metrics did turn around at the PGA Championship. His history here is good, not great. A bunch of top 30s, couple top 10s. I mean, it's good. No, it's good. It's fine. It's good. Harman 6.3%, Rye 0.7. Wow. You put me in a pickle there. I would say yeah, Rye is too much of a wild card to take over Harman. With the influx of tournaments you've had the opportunity to cover, has that made you appreciate the data you see in your site even more, like seeing Scotty hit the ball attribute to his strokes gain metric? Yeah, for sure. So a couple of things. When you go to tournaments, believe it or not, it's like even harder to follow a tournament, right? You're seeing what's in front of you. You're having to look at the scoreboard. You're trying to, there's very oftentimes, I don't know if it's just me, I never have any service out there. So it is kind of hard to follow a tournament. Now, when you get back in the media center and there's 100 screens and all that stuff, it's different. But it does make me appreciate that there is a system in place that in theory captures every single shot, right? And then you can start to do the data stuff, because without that, it would be very difficult to know who is doing what. Seriously. I mean, you've got hundreds of acres, 100 balls in the air at a time. It's like, it's impossible. But it's also really cool to see, like, okay, perfect example. And it goes both ways. I'm on 16 with the Bryson Victor group on Sunday. The drive that Bryson hit went right over my head. It left. It was gone. It was 40 yards left. See you later. Sayonara. You're never going to find that golf ball. Smacks the top of a tree, bounces back to the middle of the fairway. Now, that off the tee numbers, that's a fairway hit, right? But that goes both ways. There are times where guys hit great shots and it gets punished. So I don't know. Just being able to see it out there and get a vibe is really awesome. If you're in the Athens, Georgia area, I'll fly in and play the UGA course with you. It's quality tracking. Oh, okay. I'll tell you what. If I go to the Tour Championship, I'll take you up on that. Rick, you're the best. Appreciate all the content and hard work. You're second to none. This interesting. Thank you. Last question here says, thoughts on data golf? I don't know a lot about it. I mean, I have I'm bad with this as well. I don't know a lot of other people in the industry. My understanding is they make beautiful tools. I don't know. Like, I'm not like a power user of the site or anything, but I think they make beautiful tools. And I think it's two guys. I think they're brothers. They seem to be great. I don't really know. I know that's weird, but like I have my own data website. So it's like, I'm very busy working on it's like I don't listen to other content too. People are like, oh, do you listen to No Laying Up? I'm like, no. Like, do you listen to Shotgun Start? I'm like, not really. Like, I wish I did. I just don't consume other stuff. I'm just consumed here. So anyway, all right. We're gonna put a pin in it there. I'm gonna go eat lunch. I also am feeling a hair jet lagged, so I'm gonna try to figure that situation out. I appreciate you all coming out. I'm wishing you all the best of luck this week and every week. I'll talk to you very soon. Goodbye.